Good morning and welcome, everyone. I'll reintroduce myself quickly. My name is Jeremy. I've been tech support for Belgium for about over a decade at Blackbox, and with me on the call is my colleague Jed Anderson. Um,
I'm Jed Anderson. I've been with Blackbox coming up for 15 years, doing a solution consultancy in pre and post sales support, also covering the EMEA and APAC regions now, alongside Jeremy and all my other colleagues. And
all right.
I'll hand back over to you, Jeremy.
Okay, let me share my screen. There we go. All right, today we're going to talk about how our Emerald solution can help you optimize your workflow a little bit, especially during these strange times. Um, so, um, yeah, let's begin. There we are. So, the first topic will be the remote access through our KVM technology. Second topic we'll talk briefly about the Emerald solution. Third topic, we'll talk about the API integration into a well-known software suite. Fourth thing on the list would be looking at a use case with our solution. And then the last item on the agenda before the Q&A would be how we can, as Blackbox, how we work and how we help you in general. So remote access through KVM technology. This is a little bit of a peculiar slide to start with, but this is very important. So we've been recently hit with the global COVID-19 pandemic, and this has forced us to rethink our way of our workflows, our way of working. We have social distancing, we have less people present in certain enclosed areas. We are also encouraged to work from home. So, of course, how does this translate into production in general? Well, by the end of this presentation, hopefully you'll have an idea. So, what is Emerald? Emerald is a KVM family. It's actually it's comprised of four things. So you have the HD or 4K transmitter units. You have the HD or 4K receiver units. You have the IP switches. We have our own brand of IP switches, but you are also encouraged to use your own if you want. You can use any good quality Cisco, etc. switch if you need. And then we have our remote app, which is pretty new. It allows your Windows 10 laptop to be turned into a software receiver. And then we have our Boxilla KVM manager that gives you the monitoring of the system, the ease of configuration update. Yeah, that's basically it. So how does this look? Well, this is a pretty basic application without the aspect of remote working, but you have your 4K transmitters or your HD transmitters on the left. We also have our 0U transmitter here if you are short on space. We have the receivers on the right. We have our Boxilla KVM manager, and of course our sources can be physical or virtual out of the box. Everything is connected to an IP network. So that's basically the system in a short, summarized. Of course, we have, for most units, we have single head and dual head. So you can pretty much go any direction. So what happens when you want to work remotely? Well, Emerald is somewhat unique in a way that it has been built from the ground up with the possibility of using a very small amount of bandwidth. That allows you to use the system to work from home. So in this case, we have our sources on the left, the transmitters. We have our LAN, and then we have our VPN system, whether it be software or hardware. And then you have the Emerald receiver or a Windows laptop. And so these systems can communicate with all the sources remotely. This is a small screenshot of the remote app. The remote app, you would with a software VPN, the device with a hardware VPN, but Jed will talk about that a little bit later on. Next, we'll see a video, first video, because we have some video to show you. So let me share my first video. This is the first video about the remote app, and hopefully it will let you see the app and realize its performance.
The new Emerald Remote app is first of its kind software that turns any Windows 10 device into a high-performance KVM receiver. Remote users can easily connect to any server within the Emerald KVM network without the need for additional equipment. The intuitive KVM software gives users simultaneous remote access to one or more sources, PCs, servers, or virtual machines, with all the performance they would expect from traditional KVM extension. Open up a new connection by selecting a source from a list of connected transmitters and clicking Connect. To take control of a remote connection, simply select a remote desktop window with your mouse or tap on your device's touchscreen. Connect to multiple resources simultaneously and switch control by selecting a window on your desktop. To configure the remote app, add a license for 1, 5, 10, or 20 connections to Blackbox's award-winning KVM management platform, Boxilla. Connect the remote app to your Emerald network, and all connected servers will show up in a list of available resources. The Emerald Remote app supports the sharing of USB devices and full HD video at up to 40 frames per second, providing a real desktop experience or keyboard latency. With Emerald and the Remote app, your connectivity infrastructure is ready for the future, no matter what the future demands.
All right. Next, Jed will be talking about the Emerald family in general.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. So if we can go to the next slide, I'll take us through the various pieces of hardware available and some of the specs, but I'll try and get through it quickly because I can see we're running out of time a bit. So there's four main parts to the Emerald family. I'll start off with the Emerald Remote app because that's where we just left off with Jeremy. So, of course, turning your Windows 10 laptop into a software receiver. So that laptop may be your operator working from home or a remote office. Maybe you want to access a Emerald 0U transmitter, which is inside an OB van. So 0U transmitters take up very little footprint, and space is always a premium in OB vans. Of course, OB vans come in various different sizes. They can be a small transit van, they can be a big trailer. But the Emerald 0U will provide a DVI-D and USB HID access down to the BIOS level if you need it to a machine that you attach that transmitter to. Emerald Remote app could be a receiver of that transmitter, or you could use Emerald SC, which is a DVI-D based transmitter and receiver solution as well. So like the Emerald 0U transmitter, there is an Emerald SC transmitter, but it's not a 0U solution. It can be rack mounted. The difference with Emerald SC transmitters is they support transparent USB. So if you have devices for your guys working on slow motion clips in the OB vans, for example, they might want to attach a special HID device like a jog wheel for frame skipping and things like that. Through Emerald SE, you can do that. Also through our newest Emerald PE, which is like the Emerald SE but on steroids. It's like the next step up, being able to support a mathematically lossless video compression, which is more intended for a local area network. But if you have a high-speed uplink, it could be supported for remote access as well. Something in common that all of the Emerald hardware has is the ability to access RDP targets. So that's where virtual machines come into play. And those virtual machines might be something like a virtualized scheduling system, or it could be just virtualized machines that you would normally use within an outside broadcast van to save space, create more space within that van. And then again, Emerald as a solution overall, providing remote access to that van in the case that you want to reduce the team size in there due to social distancing and making sure you've got a safe working place for your environment, but also providing extra productivity that you can have your guys accessing these vans remotely as a potential. And last but not least is the Emerald 4K. So Emerald 4K, of course, supports 4K consumer DCI resolutions also, and that is in up to HDR as well. Emerald 4K does have some additional functionality, like being able to connect to PC over IP targets. So if you have a VMware virtualization platform, then that is supported as well. Okay, so if we go on to the next slide, here is a simple or simplified layout of how a user in their remote office, home office, may connect through their dual head receiver through a hardware VPN, authenticating with the Boxilla, which could either be authenticating that user in the Boxilla itself or through Active Directory. And then connecting to his storage management systems remotely. If they're Windows-based, Linux-based, our transmitters don't care about the operating system. And of course, if they're RDP targets, then even simpler, you might not need a hardware transmitter in that case. Okay, so with that, I'll let Jeremy go on to the PE video, which will tell you a bit more in depth about PE.
Yeah, I think that we'll have to skip it because we have, I think, 3 minutes left.
Okay.
But yeah, these videos will be available on one-to-one if you want to see it. So about API integration. So our system has a really powerful API built in, so that allows us to integrate it into various software suites. There be custom software suites or commercial software suites. This is basically doing this. This is happening through the Boxilla. So the Boxilla is our KVM manager. It handles user rights and it handles the API, as well as the licensing for the remote app. So the Boxilla is the central manager of the system, but it does not constitute a single point of failure if it breaks. So that's a story about the Boxilla. Yeah, I was talking about API integration through the Boxilla, where our system has been integrated into software officially. So through the API, the system has been integrated into the LAWO software that you might know, which is a post-production software suite that allows operators to seamlessly control the hardware and the software in their system in a particular workflow. And so basically, that our API allows the KVM system to become invisible for the user, which is what it should always be. We had a video about that too, but we'll skip it as well. Maybe we'll see it at the end of the presentation. So we actually have pretty famous customers. So we have one of our famous customers is Fox, and they've been covering the NASCAR events using our solution, using so the power of Emerald to cover all the NASCAR events in a safe way, with some people working from home and a reduced number of people working in the vans. We have a video about that as well that we'll show you later. Now, the last part is how we can help you. So how do we do it? Well, we can offer you support, pre-sales, post-sales. Of course, we don't do this alone. We have 2 partners in Belgium. So these are VP Media and CN Hood. So they will also be able to help you choose the right KVM solution for you to suit your needs. And they can always count on us for support, pre-sales and post-sales, of course. So that was a presentation. Like I said, we had some videos. You can always request them for me later. We had to skip them due to time constraints. But yeah, if you have any question, do not hesitate to ask or to request a session. Yeah, thank you very much.